all control. Gravity is all that I know. She's over me. She's over me. She comes me with her hypnotic dance. She holds me here with only a glance. She's over me. She's over me. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Sunday edition of the Paranormal Portal Night Terrors. I'm your host, Brent Thomas. I'm here with you. I made it. You made it. Are making it anyway. I see the numbers are still piling up, so that's good. That means people are piling in, and so we are going to have a great crowd, I believe. But even if it's 3 of you, it's a great crowd because you guys are amazing, and you make my life complete or more complete than it would have been without you. So thank you for that. I appreciate that a ton. Hope you guys are doing great. It is another day closer to the end of the year. Can you believe it? 2019 is almost over. And I just hope, I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of optimism about 2020, and I gotta believe that it's going to be a good year. I think it's going to be a good year. There's obviously a lot of things still in flux in our world, and to be honest with you, I was hoping that a lot of that would be more, I don't know, more dialed in by now. But perhaps 2020 is still going to be a year of flux, but I hope not. It's the beginning of a new decade, the Roaring '20s is coming back. And I hope that it's roaring. I don't know. It feels like it will be, but I don't know. I'm sure hoping so because I think all of us are pretty tired. It's been a long run for, I think, pretty much everybody I know has been through a lot of trials and tribulations lately in this last year or so, and they've fought a lot of battles, overcome a lot of stuff, and I think we all deserve a win for a while now. I think we've all pushed hard enough and rolled the big boulders of our lives, and it's time to have some fun. And I know that I'm having fun every time I'm doing the show, but you know what I mean. I just think that I'm really hopeful that 2020 will be the magical event that everybody believes it will be. And, you got to give us credit at least for having this amazing level of optimism, even in the light of all of the crap that's been going on. So, it's better to be hopeful. It's manifestation, right? So if we're manifesting, let's manifest an amazing 2020. Let's put it out there that this will be our year, all of us, that things will just start making sense and things will start coming together, and all of our battles and trials will have been for good reason. And so I guess we can only wait and see, but all I can tell you is I got a great show lined up for you, and I'm so thrilled you're here. But I got to ask you, are you ready for bed? And hello to all you portal people who have made it into the Paranormal Portal tonight. Thanks so much for being here. Again, the phones will be open throughout the duration of the show. If you feel like you have something you'd like to add to the conversation, please do. I'd love to hear from you, as long as it's paranormal related. I know that, everybody's got a story, and I know most of you are nervous about sharing your stories, but please feel comfortable because it's just me and a microphone sitting here waiting to hear from you. So don't be worried. Don't be intimidated. It's just me. It's just me. So I'll be waiting for your calls. If you want to call in, it's 720-923-0500. Again, 720-923-0500 is the number to call into the show. Would love to hear from you guys, but if you don't want to call in, that's cool. I'll just read you stuff that I've found, and hopefully that'll keep you largely entertained for the next right around hour of time. So I guess I hope you guys are doing great. I see a bunch more of you have come in. Thank you all for being here. And without further ado, I guess I should get to work. All right, let's get to work. I was watching one of the television stations. They were giving CNN a hard time, and specifically Chris Cuomo. And his shtick was to talk about something and like, yeah, the college football sting has been undergoing. You want to know what's going on? Well, let's get after it. And they did about 15 clips of him saying, let's get after it. Everybody's got to have their shtick, I guess. So that's Chris Cuomo of CNN. His is let's get after it. I thought that was hilarious. I don't know if he still does it, but I know he did it in 2018 when that clip was based out of. So let's get after it. So I know there's some paranormal going on out there, ladies and gentlemen. So let's get after it. All right. The first story tonight is coming from West Virginia. My apologies to anybody who's a big fan of CNN. If you like network corporate news, then I guess that's the place you'll find it. So anyway, let's get after it here on the show. West Virginia is the place we're starting tonight. So let's see what's going on here. It says a couple of years ago, around the beginning of spring, I woke up from a really strange dream. It was so strange, in fact, that it really disturbed me, and I just couldn't get back to sleep. I dreamed that I could see my ex-husband's brother's face in the sky. It was high up, like the sun or the moon. The only thing is, his face was gradually coming towards me, and it was getting closer. His face was decaying and crumbling. It was really eerie. The next afternoon, my Aunt Rose called me, and immediately I thought something was wrong with one of my parents, seeing as how the only people in my family that call me are my mom and my sister. I asked her where my mom and dad were, and she said they were at Doty's because Jonathan had shot and killed himself that morning in his parents' backyard. I was absolutely stunned. Was my dream a premonition of his death? I've always been sensitive to things, and I can feel things, see things, hear things that not everyone else can, and it doesn't occur all the time, occasionally though. Anyway, I went to the wake of the funeral. After all, he was an uncle of two of my children, and like I said before that all happened in the spring, I didn't go back to the house until the fall on Halloween when my mom and I were taking the kids trick-or-treating, and we always took the kids there first and did visit for a while. My kids both have their own room there, and Sissy wanted me to come and see their new bunk beds. And as I was walking back through the hall towards the bedrooms, my chest started to feel really heavy, and I couldn't breathe that well, and I could feel him near me. He was there in the back bedroom. I could see his shadow in the corner, even though I had experiences similar to that before. It had never been with someone that I actually knew. It was one of the scariest things in my life. I had to get out of that house. I went back to the living room and told my mom that I was going out to the car. I was just so scared. I got to scroll, sorry. The very next spring, I had another dream about him, and in this dream, he called me. We both knew he was dead and that he had committed suicide, and he was trying to tell me that he really regrets taking his own life, and he wants me to help him go back and undo it. Well, I didn't know what to say. I woke up feeling really uneasy about it, and I called my mom to tell her about the dream, and the weird thing is, after I told her about it, she became all quiet. After a long pause, she said, "Don't you realize that today makes exactly a year since he killed himself?" Again, I was shocked, and I really felt that he was trying to contact me. I just couldn't understand why. I was with his brother for many years, but Jonathan and I were never close. Each and every time I go to their house, I can feel him. I know he is there, and I know that he is miserable. Well, then, lady, why don't you work on crossing him over, or get somebody that can? Yeah, that's terrible. That's a horrible, horrible thing, and I imagine it's a torment because I don't know. You hear things about spirits being stuck in their death state, and I heard that initially from Amy Ellen of the Dead Files, and it's really got me thinking. Of course, a lot of what she talks about is very disturbing, like spirits stuck in walls and all kinds of crazy crap like that. But it was it was this death state thing, and these spirits, according to her, and I think that she's the real deal. I really do. I think that she really does feel and see things, and has come up with some pretty good stuff on the show. And again, I don't know. I'm not there when they're editing and how they're piecing it together, but in the way that it's presented, it seems pretty plausible that she is actually truly sensitively reading the situations pretty accurately. But she talks about these people being stuck, repeating their deaths over and over and over and over and over. And I can't think of a more hellish existence. But I gotta wonder, is it their whole soul, or is it just a piece, a fragment that's left behind in that tormented state? I don't know. But it's definitely concerning, and I don't know what to think about stuff like that. It's truly disturbing. I mean, it's bad enough to be in such a state in your life that you don't have anything left. You can't even do another day. Everything is so painful, you can't even do another day. And to know that that was their torment prior to them ending their life just because they want the pain to stop. But then to think that the ensuing existence is repeating that over and over and over and over, to me is just terrible, horrible, horrible. And I hope that that's just a piece, a fragment, a part of them that couldn't transition due to that pain and anguish, but that the rest of them was able to transition to peace and a better existence. I don't know. I don't know what to make of it, but all I can tell you is, ladies and gentlemen, and I throw this out there every time suicide comes up because I think it's important. There's always somebody to talk to if you're in that place, if you're in that much pain. Find someone to talk to. Call one of the hotlines. Call a friend. Call somebody, because everybody would rather listen to you and help you through the problems than to hear about your passing and to hear about that kind of a sadness. So reach out, find somebody, find some way to just get through your day and get through another day after that, and just focus on your days and find your way through it. And I'm sorry to those of you that are feeling so sad and so lonely and so broken. I truly am. My heart breaks for you, but it does get better if you work on it. If you try to find the answers, life can get better. So, just my 2 cents for what it's worth. But I don't know. It's just so tragic. It's so tragic. Life is hard enough, but the problem, I think, too, is that the suicide damages everybody around it. It's not just the answer to one person's problems. It's the creation of so many people's problem that they have to live with that scar for the rest of their lives. And so it's a torment for so many people, not just the individual. So, I mean, if someone gets sick from a disease, it's horrible. It's terrible, and they may pass, and that's a painful thing. But at least there's a natural progression to it, that has a course and a function. But something like ending your own life, it's just so contrary to the natural flow of things. And I don't believe in the whole you're a sinner, you're resigning yourself to eternal torment. I don't personally. And take it or leave it, but that's my opinion. But I just think that there's always an answer. There's always an answer if we continue to look and persevere, and there's always help and there's always hope. So enough of that. I'm sorry to go on and on about it, but it is a subject that touches me personally because I did lose someone to suicide. And It was so painful. It was such a painful thing to go through. And if I can give somebody the words, just a thought to make them hold on, then I could be maybe honoring the memory of the person that I couldn't help. And that's something I have to wear for the rest of my life. So, all right, let's move on. The next story is coming from Nebraska. In Nebraska, this happened about 5 or 6 years ago to this day. I and my friends must provoke it or something. Okay, here it goes. I'll try to tell you the best I can. It was about midnight, and I was staying at my friend's at the time, and we decided to go jump on a friend's trampoline. We walked about 3 or so blocks, and we were jumping about 30 or so minutes. And it started raining, and we saw a car, so we decided to hide because we thought it was my friend coming home. But it wasn't, though. I dove under the trampoline, and my friend stayed on top of it, and as soon as I did that, I looked and saw a flash of lightning, and as soon as that happened, I looked towards the garage and saw a little boy sitting on a rock looking at me. I also noticed that it had a partly bloody face. When I told my friends about it, we decided to go home. Also, when I told my parents about it, they said not to worry. He was just trying to tell me something, but I need to hear it from someone else, not just my family. I never understood what it was or why it showed me. Why it showed, was it trying to tell me something, nor was I just hallucinating? Or what it was, or why it showed, was it trying to tell me? That was a really poorly written sentence, but was it trying to show me something? But I was not hallucinating, I guess would be a better way to phrase that. Can someone tell me what was going on? I'm not losing my mind. I really need to know what happened and why just me. So I assume this person's younger, obviously. I don't know how old, but I would say that, not everybody could have seen the spirit. Not everybody is capable of seeing the spirit. Now, I shouldn't say capable because I think we're all capable, but I think not everybody is tuned in enough to see the spirits. And the fact that the spirit did reveal itself to you is that it could tell that you could. And I think the cool thing about this story is it's really awesome that the parents of this child didn't just discredit it. They did not dismiss it. They had a conversation with this child, and that's really cool. That's extraordinarily cool because they didn't just say, oh, it's all in your head. No, you didn't see that. You were just scared, and the lightning played tricks with your eyes. They didn't do that to this child. They had a discussion. They didn't dismiss it. They helped the child process that, and I think that's really cool. My hats are off to these parents, whoever they are. Nice job. You're doing it right. So let's continue on. The next one's coming from Texas, the great state of Texas. Everything's bigger in Texas, even the ghosts. It says, I've seen a lot of things in my house and my father's house, and I'm only going to mention a few. My house was built 12 years ago. And one thing that's happened was when I was 2, I was sitting in a chair and I looked at one of the walls in my kitchen. I saw a white figure go through one of the walls. Well, I knew it was solid, and I was thinking, how did he do that? Then when I was 4, I was just waking up, and I went to the kitchen for some water, and as soon as I go through the doorway, I see a very pale figure standing in front of the refrigerator. I stood completely still. I couldn't move whatsoever. A few moments later, it looked at me and started walking towards me. Well, I ran into my mom's room and told her what had happened, and she thought I was making it up. And then when I was 8, in my dad's house, I kept seeing shadows. And my uncle died, if that has to do with any of this. The thing that creeped me out the most was just a few days ago. Me and my brother were the only ones awake at 5 a.m. And we just went to sleep for an hour. And he woke me up, and he said he heard something in the kitchen. So we went, and we were the only ones in the house. My dad was working, and he left at 4. because he works for a company. And my stepmom was at our aunt's house with my other little brother, and we went and saw a tall, dark figure. And then we ran to our room. Looking back, we went to our bathroom to wash our faces, and we saw the shower turning on. We turned it off, and then we told my stepmom about it, and she said, "That's weird. Mine was on too." Oh, her shower. Okay. "These things have made me feel weird a lot. Please help me. What do you think? Is my dad's and my own house haunted?" Sounds like it. I mean, it's one of those questions like, is my house haunted? Because I saw the tall, skinny people. I saw the tall shadow. Weird things happen all the time. But is the house haunted? It's like, sounds haunted. I think it sounds haunted to me, but could be just me. Just a thought. But yeah, sounds like it could be. Let's go on to the next one, and this is from Connecticut. Sorry, I went like that. That's really loud in the microphone. I hope I didn't hurt your ears if you're listening on headphones, but I'll try not to do it. It's just kind of a habit. All right, so Connecticut. Let's go there next. It said, "This has been happening since I was old enough to cry, literally. My mom is sensitive as well as every middle child on her mom's side of the family, so just so happens that they're all females, and I being the oldest of my mom's children and the only male, it just happened to be passed to me. When I was an infant, if my mom left the room and had a baby monitor on, I would instantly go to static, followed by me screaming, pale white face, and staring at one part of the room, just screaming. I guess it only happened a few times because she's only told me of 3. After I turned 8, I started seeing more and more entities, either pure white blobs or black shadows walking around. I've even heard a few call me a mistake. I don't know what that means. It's like they're calling you a mistake. Or a doll. And it still happens. It was just more shocking then. Skip a few more years, it was pretty repetitive up through then. And this is now when I turned 12, I would go to sleep and wake up with scratches all over my body. I woke up once with what seemed to be a burn mark on my back, and it was shaped with a hand. And when I showed my mom, she brought me to a psychologist, to figure out what was going on. And they had diagnosed me as bipolar type 1, rapid cycling, mixed mania, clinically depressed, and schizoaffective. Oh, no. Wow. She didn't listen to that. She didn't listen to that, and one Saturday after my church's service, she brought me down to talk to the pastor, and he had told her that I was touched by both an angel and a darker entity and refused to share what it was. He also made me stay for the early afternoon mass, where my mind and body literally weren't mine anymore. Every time he said Jesus or God, my body temp would shoot up 5 degrees until I was sweating bullets and passed out in the aisle. He released the mass and did a blessing on not only me, but everyone in the house, and told my mom I might have some repressed memories, which are calling them to me. Since then, I've attempted suicide 3 times, and all 3 times I passed. I know I have, but I come back with a cloud of warmth around me. I've been having flashbacks and night terrors, which is the title of the show, recently, as in the past 3 months, of me as a toddler over my mom's friend's house, and she was molesting me. Oh, God. I know it's real because I can see every color and feel everything she's doing to me. I've tried to come to terms with it, but I'm just too disgusted at myself that I blocked it out until now, after so much hell has been caused. It still happens every time I hear God or Jesus. And writing this, I have my window wide open and a fan on me, and I stopped going to Mass because of this, but I still believe there is good above and all around. I haven't started taking the meds until recently, and it has been starting to escalate. I also know that if you commit suicide, you don't automatically go to hell. It's the hate you carry with you when you pass that makes you go to hell or wherever you believe. Well, maybe it's just me it happened to. Thanks, I just needed to get the general happenings off my chest. There are more vivid things happening, but I needed to get this out. Oh, that's horrible. Ugh. That's so unfair. It's just, a kid. Ay. Okay. Next story. My heart just breaks hearing stuff like that. All right. Continue. This one's from Indiana. I've lived in my home for about 13 years or so now, and things weren't always strange here. I've had odd experiences before, but most I just wrote off as my imagination or something. When you're little and people tell you it's nothing, you believe it. A friend of mine actually posted one of my stories on here, and he got permission to post it here, as I always hope that by sharing my stories, others will come forward with theirs. Let's see. Now, just recently, I've been seeing shadows out of the corner of my eye, all over the house. Never when I look directly at them. It's hard to say. I really feel threatened by them since they don't stick around long, but I'm a little uneasy. The biggest problem I have is with my 2-year-old daughter. She has her own room and constantly wakes up crying in the middle of the night. She's gotten better since I've started saying leave her alone before I put her down for bed, but some nights even that doesn't work. It's not a normal crying that a baby does when they have had a bad dream or run out of milk. It's a full-on scream. Occasionally, she'll just look up towards the ceiling and stare. We have a cat that has a tendency to stare at the ceiling as well. It's not your typical kitty LFPs either, what we call low-flying planes, because he follows the movement sometimes like he's watching tiny planes. These, whatever they are, bother him enough to make him stare for sometimes 15 minutes before moving on. Sorry if this is a little hard to follow. I just wanted to get one of my stories out here for all to read. And that's really tough. I think people really need to understand about cleansing and about protection. And that's the thing that I think is missing from the portal. And I need to do a better job about that, I think, about bringing on people who can give recommendations for protection. I need to do more episodes about that, because there's so many people that are dealing with this stuff, and so many people don't want other people tramping through their home. They may be unsure about having people come in to investigate or to try to help, because what if it fails? What if it goes sideways? Does it get worse? So I think we need to do more of that. We did a little bit with the portals episode on Friday night. There was some information on how to find them, some methodology that can work to close them. If you do find them, if you're not sure what I'm talking about, refer back to Friday's episode here on the portal. I think it was a good show. I think, it's not exhaustive by any measure, but it's some information that may help. And I think that that's important. So again, if you use the pendulum method, pay attention to what was discussed during that show. I think that it's good advice, and it shouldn't violate anybody's belief systems. I don't think. I think that pendulums have been around for ages and ages, and they've been utilized by many, many different faiths and belief systems throughout history. So it's not something that should fly in the face of anybody's beliefs. But whatever, if it's uncomfortable with you, then just do a lot of praying, or whatever works in your belief system. But I think that people need answers like that. I think that people need to know what they can do, what they shouldn't do. I think there's a lot of bad information out on the internet about the paranormal, and I think there's a lot of people that really don't know what the hell they're talking about, that are giving advice to people about what to do. And that to me is very disturbing and concerning. So I think maybe that's something in 2020 that we'll put a little more focus on in the show, because I don't think feeling powerless is a good feeling. And people are dealing with something like this, it's already tough. And to feel like you can't do anything to change it, I think is it's kind of humiliating on top of it. So, yeah, that's kind of a note to myself, I guess, ladies and gentlemen. But if you'd like to hear more shows about that, please let me know in the comments. If you'd like to have more information presented as to what to do in the cases of hauntings, what can be done, I'll put together some things if you guys want to hear stuff like that. I think it's good information, and just some basic stuff. Of course, there's some situations that maybe you can't help yourself with, but I think most of them you can. So I'm going to start writing, I think, and putting something together. But that was a good story, and I feel bad for these people that are living in these states and not sure what to do about it. I think, that's the one thing about the paranormal is most people feel absolutely powerless. They see things happen that aren't supposed to happen. Your cereal bowl is not supposed to slide across the table. That's not supposed to happen. You're not supposed to see apparitions walking through your walls. That's not supposed to happen. Doors shouldn't open and shut by themselves, and lights shouldn't go on and off by themselves. And when it does, it's very threatening. It's very threatening to think that something is in your house that you feel like you have no control over. So I think that would be good. But again, you guys will have to let me know in the comments of this episode, in the YouTube comments. Please let me know if that's something that you'd like to hear more of. I think Adriana Brown. Okay, thank you, Adriana. I appreciate that. That's good. Okay. I focus on inviting the positive healing energy and releasing the negative. Intent is really big. The law of attraction is real. Very true, Bomber. Excellent. Well said. Well said. Just let me know. More of you would like to hear that. I certainly can put some of those together. Again, it's never going to be an exhaustive course. I'm always hesitant to do that because I don't want to try to create belief systems for people. That's up to you guys individually to create for yourselves. But if you believe this stuff is real and you believe that it may be happening to you, then having some knowledge is a good thing. And I don't think that teaching people some cleansing techniques is the same as, and ladies and gentlemen, you can use cleansing techniques alongside of your faith. So if you burn sage, you don't have to chant in Cherokee or Ojibwe or anything. You can say prayers. You can cite passages from your Bible. You can cite from, Buddhist texts or whatever. It doesn't have to be one paradigm, but these are just mediums. A lot of people need to understand that, mediums like sage are not a religion in and of themselves. They are something of the earth. And that something of the earth works to level out a lot of energy and to help cleanse it and push it away. Frankincense is great for transmuting negative energy and baselining it. And, there's so many other things. Cedar is a great one. Lavender is a great one. There's so many things that can be done in infusions in your space, along with prayer or at whatever, citing whatever belief system you want with words to vibrate that into existence. Again, speaking is incredibly powerful. When you say, "You must leave my house," and you mean it with your heart of hearts, you mean it, that they need to leave, that becomes a powerful ward against anything being in your space. It vibrates into the air. It vibrates into reality from your spirit. And that is and that's the basis for 99% of the spell work out there that a lot of religions and occult practices use. A prayer is vibrating something into existence if you do it out loud. If you hold the Bible and you cast out in the name of Jesus, you are resonating that into this world through your faith, through your heart. And so all the principles are the same. It doesn't matter the medium you're using to bring it forth. Whatever resonates in your heart, whatever your passion, whatever your faith is based on, becomes powerful and projects into the world through your words. So, renouncing things and casting and banishing, it becomes powerful when you believe in the words you're saying. To pick up something someone else wrote would mean nothing to you. You can try to believe it, But, again, it's if it's from your religion, then it's powerful. If it's something you truly are devoted to. If you're just a Sunday Christian, that kind of thing, or if you're, just observe your faith maybe once or twice a month, then whatever's going on is probably not going to be as powerful. But you know what I mean? So just whatever you use, make sure it's something that resonates with you. And I've said it before, I'll say it again. If you believe in your heart of hearts that a piece of cheese was incredibly profoundly divine and held the essence and will of God, and you held that cheese up and said, this holy cheese banishes you, then it will become a powerful piece, a focal point of what you believe, and so again, objects and essences, while there are some essences that by themselves, even without the introduction of a faith, will be beneficial, like sage, like sweetgrass, like lavender, cedar, etc., frankincense, whatever, they in and of themselves, by their own energy and vibration, will be effective to a degree, but coupled with your faith becomes strong, incredibly strong. And again, if you're dealing with anything dark and horrible and you need some help, you don't believe it's something you can do on your own, let me know. We have many people associated with the show that are happy. They don't have to come into your home. These are people that work at a distance and can do some amazing things. So let me know. It's all pro bono. It's not charged. Many of them accept donations, but it's not required. If you need help, they will help you. So just reach out to paranormalportalradio@gmail.com and let us know, and I will put you in touch with them personally. I don't want anybody suffering and being alone. So always we have answers. Sorry. Had to have a drink. Let's continue here. Not sure how much time has gone by. Let me check. Not too bad. Almost 40 minutes already. Thank you. I like the Hue. I like the Hue too, Julia. I like their music. It's very powerful. It's that octave singing that's ancient, and it has such a powerful resonance to it. They did who did they do they did a song with somebody, and Don and I watched it. It was really powerful. It's a American rock singer, but he sang with them. I don't remember who it was for the life of me, but it was really good. It was a really good crossover, and the Who, right? And the Hue, I guess Hue is probably, because the Who, of course, is Roger Daltrey and company, but the Hue is the Mongolian throat singers that are doing it in a very rock methodology. They're really good. It's really powerful. If you like rock, and even if you don't, it's still, I don't think it's so in your face like a lot of rock music that it would only appeal to a certain group. I think it's pretty universal. It's got a really wide appeal. But let's go on to the next one. This is North Carolina. This is Deb's Stomping Grounds. When I was younger, my cousin and I would spend every weekend at our grandparents' house. From about that time, we were 5 years old, and we knew there were spirits in their home. We've had many experiences in that house that I'll have to post later. But since that time, we both have been very sensitive to spirits. We've each seen and heard things at our own homes, and we can both enter a building and immediately sense whether there are spirits remaining there. I've had several experiences where I've had to actually leave a building because of the feelings that I would get almost as soon as I walked in. One instance was when I was a teenager and my parents were looking at houses. They found this very cute little farmhouse that we all loved, at least from the outside, and we went inside, and while our parents were downstairs, my sister and I went upstairs to check out what would have been our bedrooms. And I was up there for about 10 minutes, and it felt like something was pressing against my chest. Almost like there was an increase in the air pressure. I could hardly breathe. I ended up leaving my sister up there because it freaked me out so badly. Another time this happened to me when I was in a small town in Virginia with my mom, grandmother, and some friends, and we found a cute little restaurant that was in the lower level of a 3-story home built in the 1700s. The second and third floors were used for receptions. The building was full of antique furniture, and we were told that we could look around the reception rooms after we finished lunch. I felt weird all through lunch, and it only got worse when we went upstairs. And it was almost like there were several people trying to speak to me at once, and I got the smothery feeling again. All of us had kind of separated as we looked around, so I found my mom, and I told her that I was going back outside, and she asked me what was wrong, and I said that I was extremely pale, and I ended up having to go sit in the car because I was so weak that I was afraid I was going to pass out. It was like I had been attacked spiritually, if that makes sense. Almost as soon as I got outside and away from the house, it was as if a huge weight lifted off of me and I could breathe again. It took me a while to get back to normal because it freaked me out so much. You know, there is that idea. I wonder if there's any credence to it. And I've often wondered about this. If as a small child, as a baby through a small child, if you're living in a haunted house, does that experience sensitize and open up those things inside of us to detect and understand spiritual presences? Does the act of being around that energy all the time serve to wake up those abilities? And I think probably it does. Just a theory, but you hear that so often. People that grow up in these haunted houses. Now, is it possible they were already turned on since birth? Sure. And the spirits were taking advantage of that? Yeah. But what if? What if they weren't, but just by virtue of being a child, which is usually much more open than adults anyway, if that is those experiences, those repeated experiences, really serve to open up those awarenesses. And I think probably they do. I think they probably do. Just me, though. Can't be sure. All right, we're going to go to Texas again. This one's a little longer, but not too bad. It says, when my sister first got married, I was 5 years old. Her and her new husband moved to a house in Tyler, Texas. Oh, we got an old listener in Tyler, Texas. Or she used to be there. I don't know where she is now. But, yeah. It says they were excited starting their new lives together. They moved to an old house in an area where most of us would not live. The neighborhood was really run down, but she was just as excited about having their own house as anyone would be. Shortly after, she started telling us stories about what would happen at night in this new house. Needless to say, we didn't believe it at first. Only when she had the rest of us come spend the night did we realize what she was saying was true. Many times she told of the strong odor of cigars in the house and very strange goings-on, such as windows opening and closing by themselves, doors opening when they were sleeping, black cats disappearing, and many things like this in the house. She told of the closet, which she insisted would open at night no matter what they put in front of the door, bloodstains dripping from the attic ladder in that closet, and other strange things that would happen. After a few weeks of hearing her stories, she insisted all of her brothers and sisters come spend the night, and the next day we were to help them move out of that house. Needless to say, that night was a night none of us will ever forget. After we finished supper, we all started to settle down for the night to go to sleep. First, my brother-in-law insisted that our brothers help him move a huge chair in front of the closet door, which held the attic ladder in it. And so they did, and there were 10 of us cramped into a small 2-bedroom house, and with all the excitement, none of us could sleep. But I crawled into bed with my sister and her husband, and around 11 p.m., as I started drifting off to sleep, I smelled the strong cigar smell she had been speaking about earlier. I watched the clock, hoping it was all in my head, and within minutes, I noticed a bright small light floating by the bed where we were sleeping. My sister grabbed me and whispered in my ear that she had not seen an actual cigar floating around until that night. Several minutes later, we heard a loud noise coming from the room with the closet, which housed the attic ladder, and we all ran into that room and saw the huge chair placed there earlier has moved across the room, and the door of the closet stood wide open. Once again, we saw blood dripping from the ladder inside. This happened several times, and each night, my sister said this happened no matter what they would put in front of the closet. It would be moved and the closet would be open, and there would be blood dripping down the ladder. Our sister, trying to calm our nerves, went into the kitchen to make us all a snack, and as we approached the kitchen door, several of us saw a black cat sitting on top of the refrigerator. I said, "Oh, a kitty," and ran towards it, hoping to play with it. I was about 6 at the time, and just then the cat jumped from the top of the refrigerator and vanished when it hit the floor. We were all dumbfounded. Immediately, we all decided to get them moved out of the house right then. We loaded up all their belongings, and as we sat in the station wagon to drive away, the car lights were on one of the windows in the house, and we saw 2 hands reach out of the bottom of the window and slowly close the window. Well, we sped away as fast as we could from that house. 3 of us went back to see that old house a couple of years ago, and it's been demolished and removed. The only thing left was the lot it sat on and the memories of that frightening night. Thanks, Stella. Well, thank you, Stella. That's pretty intense. That's horrible. I don't know what the blood would have been. Jeez. Sounds like something horrendous was going on in that house. That's horrid. Huh. Check the clock and see what's been going on here. 46 minutes. All right, so we got this one. Yeah, this is from Delaware. I don't get a lot from Delaware, so this should be interesting. Excuse me. This is one of my many ghost stories experiences, but it says defiantly the most cherished, but I think it means definitely. In 2003, when I was just turned 13, my mom and I moved to Middleton, Delaware. My mom rented an old fee simple house that was built in the 1700s, so the possibility of it being haunted was actually expected. The day we first arrived, I told my mom, "Let me scope out the house," which meant let me walk through it alone and see what kind of vibe I get. I did this with every house we ever moved into. As soon as I stepped in the house, I felt a calming and peaceful aura immediately. Once I started walking around a bit, I felt someone walking with me, and in ways I cannot explain, we engaged in a conversation without me actually talking out loud, which was something I never experienced, and even though very odd to me, it did not scare me. The spirit that was talking to me was that of a little girl named Sarah. She told me many things about her house and her life. I felt so privileged to be welcomed into that house by the true owner. The little girl told me that she was 8 years old when she died of the flu, which back in the 1700s was a common killer, along with her father, and I can't recall Sarah's father's name, but I do remember his actions, which were in a way amusing. The little girl told me that her father enjoyed to drink, and coincidentally the bottles of vodka and such my mom had sitting on the mantel would oddly fill up or would become almost empty even when no one was there to drink them. Another thing that Sarah pointed out to me before anything happened was that her father did not like loud music, and again, coincidentally, every time my mom would have the music on, it would always magically get turned down to almost a whisper. The house itself was amazing. It was a fixer-upper, not cosmetically pretty, but it had a beauty beyond looks. It had history. Sarah showed me a little wooden panel that opened in the staircase that led to an underground railroad passage in the basement. Oh, wow, that's phenomenal. The most common thing that people noticed was footsteps being heard in the dining room, and it wasn't exactly footsteps, it was Sarah dancing. It didn't take long to get used to that. After talking with Sarah, we realized we were meant to meet, and me moving into the house felt like fate. The funny thing is that night, or that right after having my first conversation with Sarah, I told my mom everything she told me, which later was proved for all the strange happenings in the house. But the thing that really surprised me was when the neighbor that had lived in the house next door his entire life attempted to tell me the story that I told my mom about the girl and her father, but I finished his story before he started. My mom have since moved back to New Jersey, but I will forever remember Sarah, her father, and the house at 55 East Main Street. Wow, that's cool. It's nice to get a positive one every once in a while. We often get the really spooky, scary ones, but that one's nice. That's lovely. Everybody feeling all warm and fuzzy now? That kind of thing makes you think, hey, I want a ghost. I don't know. I don't know that I would look for a haunted house, but they usually end up, I don't know, I usually end up finding them anyway. All right, we're going to Colorado. It says, our home is a peaceful and quiet and in a nice neighborhood, and there's only one thing, a ghost. This ghost does the same things as David from my previous stories to get attention. Again, references to other stories. I don't like that. He or she walks loudly on the carpet at night, gives out little random bangs or cracks, and gives me the chills whenever he comes near me. I had one dream before, and I ended up in my mom's bathroom. There was a man standing there with Western clothing. He had a hat, tilted head, and was smiling at me. And I was freaked out and woke up a little later. I'm wondering if this has something to do with the ghost. When we first moved in, the door slammed really hard when we were taking in furniture. Say, thank you, wind. I just went inside and upstairs to check out which door slammed. The first room to the right was Mom and Dad's, and I wanted to just hurry and check out their room. As I traveled in, I stepped into the bathroom and got this strange feeling. The watched feeling. Well, annoyed, I hurried and opened the door across the hall, and I'm going to try helping this ghost go up to heaven, too. He seems willing enough to grab my attention anyway. Hopefully, I think the ghost can start communicating with the keyboard, too. Okay. Now, this ghost has been following me to school. During history, my right side was chilled. I wonder when this ghost died. Any clues or suggestions are helpful. I got nothing. But very interesting nonetheless. So, I guess if you're going to have a haunting, it should be a positive one. And maybe they all could be positive. I don't know. I mean, there's some crabby ghosts out there, I guess. There's some really real bastards out there, really. But I think for the most part, they're mostly just in their space. They're there for whatever reason they're there. And sometimes a little acknowledgement and respect goes a long way. So just some thoughts, ladies and gentlemen, but I think that's going to wrap up our journey for tonight. So I hope you've enjoyed this. I know I've enjoyed bringing it to you. It's been a lovely day. It's Sunday, isn't it? So tomorrow's Monday. I hope your Monday goes amazing. Definitely send it out. It's going to be a great day. Try to manifest a wonderful Monday, and maybe it'll happen. Can't hurt to try. But that's going to wrap up the show for tonight. Thank you all for being here, and thanks for taking part in the program, all of you who are here. And there was a bunch of you here, 53 right now. But thank you all. Please check out our podcast. New episode will be coming out tonight at midnight. So, well, midnight my time. It'll be after midnight for everyone else, I guess, except for Hawaii. But if you like the paranormal, check out the podcast, and hope you will enjoy the next episode. We are doing real well. The numbers keep going up on the podcast, and that's been wonderful. And I appreciate all of you who have supported that effort on our behalf. It's been incredible, and we are absolutely honored to that. So many of you are enjoying the podcast as well as the YouTube shows. So with that, I guess I'm going to close it. But again, let me know if you want more shows about instructional stuff, some tips in dealing with spiritual stuff. That's certainly fine. We can do that. I probably feel like we need to do more of that just to give you guys some tools to work with. But let me know. I don't want to put together shows you're not interested in. So if you're interested, let me know. If you'd rather I just continue with what we're doing, let me know. The majority wins in this kind of situation. So I guess that's it, guys. I love you all. Be good, be kind, be nice. Take care of each other. Help each other out. Find the magic in every day. And remember to laugh as much as you can. And I'll be back tomorrow night with more of the night terrors. So I guess I'll see you then. So take care, everybody. Love you all, and sweet dreams.